You see junk. I see possibility. In this video, we're not just repurposing broken tech, we're rewriting what waste can be. If you've ever wondered what a cracked screen or an old CPU could become, you're about to find out. This is Archon Aesthetic Studio, where forgotten things find new life. Today, we'll turn e-waste into garden features you'd never expect, from edging to ponds to vertical walls. Use the timestamps to explore what speaks to you. Got questions? The comments are open. And if something sparks an idea, don't wait. Build it with whatever you have. Maybe to you, I'm just another voice online. But behind this video is a real home, a real family, and a story still being written. Your subscribe isn't just support, it's belief. It helps us keep dreaming, one project, one person, one click at a time. Thank you for choosing to be here. One, e-waste garden edging ideas. In the quiet moments of early morning light, a garden awakens, not from perfection, but from imagination. Along a slender garden path, hundreds of discarded CDS shimmer like liquid mirrors, catching the first kiss of sunlight. Once forgotten tech, now glinting beneath lavender and marigold blooms, they hum softly in the breeze, reflecting not just light, but possibility. This isn't just a path. It's a quiet rebellion against waste. Each disc, once part of a noisy, digital world, now leads the way to stillness, where bees hover gently and petals sway in rhythm. It's proof that beauty doesn't always begin with buying. Sometimes, it begins by looking at what you already have and seeing it differently. Move just a few steps deeper into the garden, and you'll find something quietly extraordinary. Circuit boards and memory sticks, once pulsing with electricity, now rest peacefully in the soil, repurposed as garden edging. They frame lush rows of lettuce and glistening greens, their once sterile surfaces now kissed with dew and life. This isn't sci-fi. It's simply nature and tech, learning to coexist. And if you follow the edge of another bed, you might smile. There, in playful defiance of throwaway culture, a line of old mobile phones and chargers marks the border between wild grass and edible life. Their screens may be dark, but here, they still serve a purpose, holding space for growth. You don't need expensive supplies. You need intention, a little curiosity, a willingness to try. If you've ever wondered whether you can start, this is your sign. You can, with broken pieces, with scratched discs, with cracked casings and tangled wires. You can build something poetic, something useful, something entirely your own. This isn't about aesthetics alone. It's about letting your garden reflect your story, one salvaged part at a time. Let the world discard. You'll repurpose. You'll root. You'll bloom. And your garden, it will glow with the kind of light no store-bought item could ever recreate. Two, vertical gardening with old monitors. Sometimes, the most forgotten things end up telling the most beautiful stories. There was a time these monitors flickered with static, held data, and gave light to office walls and computer desks. But those days are long gone. Their stories didn't end. They simply changed shape. Now, repurposed and reborn, these machines cradle life instead of light. Stacked along an aging garden fence, a wall of old computer screens becomes a canvas for green to bloom. Vines gently pour from plastic casings. Petunias burst through the frames with unapologetic color. Daisies lean outward, catching the morning sun just like they'd stretch for a window ledge. Each monitor now holds soil and root where pixels once lived. This is not simply recycling. It's reclamation. It's the art of remembering function and gifting it new meaning. In one corner, a few simple herb pots rest inside hollow screen frames. Mint, rosemary, basil. The scent is earthy and fresh. The soil still damp from last night's watering. They thrive quietly in their upcycled beds, framed not in plastic, but in perspective. And there, mounted like flower boxes along the fence, a row of vintage CRT monitors dressed in daisies. They face outwards now, not to display but to nurture. Bees hover gently. The wood behind them is aged, but the life they hold is fresh. So here's a gentle tip. When you find yourself unsure of what to do with something broken, something obsolete, consider this. What if the end of its usefulness was only the beginning of your creativity? You don't need a perfect garden. You need willingness, curiosity, a little courage to plant where no one expects you to. This garden didn't start with a trip to the store. It began with a pile of outdated machines, and the thought that maybe, just maybe, they still had something to give. And look at them now, a quiet forest of screens no longer glowing, but growing. Three, rustic garden fence made from circuit boards. Sometimes, beauty whispers from the most unexpected corners, even from what the world calls obsolete. Imagine wandering through a modest garden, perhaps behind an old countryside home, where the scent of earth mingles with the whisper of wildflowers. Here, the fence isn't ordinary. It's a chorus of past technologies reborn. Green and blue circuit boards lined up between rustic wooden posts, catching the sunlight like stained glass in a chapel of growth. It's not a statement of rebellion, but of quiet transformation. A once-forgotten pile of e-waste, circuit boards with their maze-like traces and tiny processors, now serving a new purpose, holding space for tomatoes, beans, cosmos, and poppies. Some wild, some intentional. Nature and machine in a silent, peaceful truce. In one corner, you see bamboo poles gently lashed together with black ties. Between them, old motherboards act as tiny windows, offering a peek at a bed of peas, their tendrils curling through the gaps like gentle hands rediscovering the world. A child might smile seeing how the green vines and green boards echo each other. One organic, one once electronic. Further down, an ivy plant climbs across a patchwork of weathered wood and mismatched boards. Orange, yellow, blue, each piece with a history. A whisper of an apartment, a server room, or a classroom somewhere in time. Now, it frames a new narrative, that reuse can be not only practical but deeply beautiful. If you've ever thought your garden was too small to make a difference, perhaps let this be proof. The space doesn't need to be big, just brave, just thoughtful, just willing to see possibility where others see scrap. And if you're wondering how to begin, it starts with a board, a screw, some zip ties, and a dream. Choose what's safe, what's dry, and what won't leach harmful residues. Pair it with the right plants, preferably flowers or climbing beans and peas, and let your fence become your art. Turn your fence into a story of renewal, because sometimes, even forgotten wires and dusty boards deserve a second spring. Four, tiny backyard pond with recycled computer fans. Tucked within the soft hush of a quiet backyard, a humble pond mirrors the sky, not with grandeur, but with grace. But if you listen closely, you'll notice it's not just reflecting life, it's breathing it. What once cooled the insides of forgotten computers now gently stirs the heart of water. Old fan units, repurposed and embedded with care along the edges, whisper ripples across the pond's glassy surface. Not loud, not proud, just present, fulfilling a new purpose, powered by the sun itself. In the stillness, the fans spin slowly, casting soft currents that help oxygenate the water. It's a simple trick that any gardener can apply. A solar panel, tucked behind a marigold bush, quietly works throughout the day. No need for wires or electricity. No need for perfection. Lush marigolds bloom on the banks, mingling with slender blades of grass that nod in approval. Water lilies float elegantly, their petals opening as if in conversation with the morning light. Beneath the surface, goldfish weave through the cooled currents, unaware they owe their comfort to yesterday's discarded tech. The secret here isn't in the parts. It's in the patience, in the poetry of reuse, in the realization that what was broken, forgotten, can still serve, still protect, still nourish. You don't need a grand estate or expensive equipment to try this. Just a pond liner, some fans from a retired desktop, and the courage to believe that beauty can be built with what you already have. So go ahead. Let your garden breathe. Let it be a place where waste becomes wonder. Five, upcycled CPU case planters for small patios. In the quiet corners of the city, where concrete often outweighs green, creativity finds a way to root itself. A pair of retired CPU towers, once humming with data and deadlines, now overflow with mint, basil, and lemon thyme. What once powered digital lives now nurtures something far more grounding, life itself. Nestled between terracotta pots and sheltered by the soft shadow of a balcony, these old machines have found peace in stillness and purpose in silence. You don't need a large backyard or expensive materials to grow something beautiful. Sometimes all it takes is a forgotten object, a bit of soil, and the belief that new beginnings can grow from endings. In another scene, a sun-kissed brick wall transforms into a cascading fruit garden, each slot of an old PC tower bursting with strawberry plants. Their leaves spill out playfully, and the bright red fruits dangle like nature's applause for your imagination. Passers-by may do a double take, not because it's flashy, but because it's so unexpected, so full of soul. Stacked cases in the corner of a patio become a living sculpture, their silver-gray shells softened by the joyful colors of geraniums and pansies. This is vertical gardening made personal, less about trends and more about stories. About saying, this was once mine, and now it's something new. If you've ever thought you lacked the space to garden, look again. If you've ever believed something was too old to be useful, think again. You don't need to buy more. You just need to see differently. Let these ideas spark something within you. a quiet courage to take what you already have and turn it into something living, breathing, and endlessly beautiful. Six, DIY garden pergola accents using keyboard keys. Sometimes the most overlooked objects carry the greatest potential for charm. In this quiet corner of the garden, something unexpected catches the light. Not leaves, not flowers, but keyboard keys. Discarded from forgotten devices, these tiny squares once tapped out words on screens, now reborn as gentle decor that dances with the breeze. Wrapped around the wooden posts of an aged pergola, they become part of a story no longer digital, but deeply organic. Morning glories curl and climb their way upward, threading between the white and black of each key, as if nature herself is learning to type her poems on the structure. The contrast is both delightful and grounding, plastic and vine, alphabet and bloom. Above, strings of keys dangle like wind chimes, each one slightly weathered by the sun. When the air stirs, they sway gently and clack together softly, creating a melody that's part memory, part meditation. You may notice, if you look closely, words carefully strung into place: grow, bloom, renew. It's subtle, but meaningful. An invitation. This is not just a garden accent. It's a reminder. Creativity grows from what we already have. With a bit of glue, string, and vision, even obsolete keys can unlock new beauty. So if you have an old keyboard tucked away in a drawer or destined for a landfill, consider this instead. Let your garden speak in type, one key, one bloom, one breeze at a time. Seven, recycled laptop screens as mini greenhouse windows. In a quiet corner of a humble backyard, where time seems to move slower and the wind hums in harmony with the rustle of leaves, an unexpected marvel rises. It's not crafted from polished steel or glass, but from the overlooked remnants of a digital past. Old laptop screens, once gateways to virtual worlds, now stand as translucent shields nurturing life itself. The greenhouse, though modest in size, is nothing short of poetic. Its walls are mosaics of mismatched screens, some speckled with rain, others misted with dew. Framed by hand with bamboo and wire, this little sanctuary cradles rows of tender herbs and leafy greens. Lettuce curls gently in the shade of a dimmed LCD, while basil leans into the filtered light, flourishing behind what once was flickering code. Step inside, and the air shifts. The scent of fresh soil blends with the cool plastic memory of machines reborn. You notice how soft the glow feels, the way it wraps the seedlings in warmth without ever shouting for attention. Sunlight still breaks through, but gently, as if it too has learned to be kind in this new place of growth. At dusk, the glow from nearby lights refracts across the slick surfaces, casting abstract reflections that dance like watercolors. And in those reflections, a subtle message unfolds, that technology, no matter how obsolete, still has the power to sustain, to nurture, and to give. This isn't just upcycling, it's transformation. A reminder that the throwaways of yesterday hold the potential to protect tomorrow. Tips for creating your own laptop screen greenhouse. While your eyes admire the textures and your thoughts drift toward possibility, know that building such a structure doesn't demand mastery, just intention. Begin with what you have: a few discarded screens, a wooden pallet, perhaps some old bamboo poles. Secure them tightly and space them in a way that allows air and light to move freely. Use condensation wisely. It becomes a blessing for seedlings in dry seasons. And remember, the imperfections are part of the charm. A crack in the glass doesn't mean failure. It means light will find new ways in. Eight, old cable spool art for garden borders. Some paths aren't paved with gold, but with purpose, memory, and creative renewal. As autumn's breath begins to kiss the earth, a quiet garden pathway meanders beneath a canopy of green. Along its edge, weathered cable spools, once hushed in data centers and dusty corners of forgotten workshops, now sit calmly like earthen sculptures. Some are painted in deep rust tones, echoing the warmth of the soil they now protect. Others are left bare, their spiraled coils catching the dew like tiny silver rivers coiled in rest. These humble sentinels don't shout. They whisper of past connections and new beginnings. In one corner, colorful e-waste wiring is wound into joyful arcs, tracing the outline of a vibrant lettuce bed. The fence is low, modest, but it sings with intention. No longer tangled clutter, these cables now cradle life. A gentle reminder that even what's cast aside can be shaped into beauty, if only we take the time to see. Farther along the trail, the flowers rise. Tulips like painted fire, daffodils glowing like little suns. Between them, spirals of discarded metal echo the blooms themselves, petals and coils dancing side by side. The geometry of nature and industry, now no longer at odds. This, too, can be done at home. Look around. That pile of wires collecting dust? The broken spool tucked behind the shed? They're not waste. They are waiting. With simple tools, perhaps just your hands, you can wind, weave, and plant. Build borders for beds, sculpt little guards for flowers, or even create path markers that guide the soul, not just the feet. In repurposing, we find more than a garden. We find ourselves part of a quieter, wiser cycle. One where growth doesn't depend on new things, but on new eyes. And so this path, laced with falling leaves and lined with rescued wire, becomes more than just a route through green. It becomes a story of reclamation, of regeneration, of roots, not just in soil, but in intention. Nine, Japanese-inspired garden lamps from e-waste shells. In the hushed stillness of twilight, when the last light of the sun sinks behind the treetops and the world softens into gold and shadow, a garden glows, quietly, purposefully. Not with modern glare, but with handcrafted reverence. Here, nestled among moss, stone, and water, stand lanterns born not from nature, but from once forgotten machines. Where once these parts spun data and powered pixels, now they cradle light with grace. Old hard drive shells, their aluminum bones cleaned and polished, have become windows for warm LED flickers. Cooling fans, no longer whirring in the belly of computers, now sit silently, framed by acrylic and steel, casting quiet silhouettes onto gravel paths. With every angle, each corner holds the memory of innovation, reimagined into serenity. These aren't just lamps. They are monuments of renewal. Take a closer look and you'll see how easily beauty can arise from utility. Drive trays become lattice panels. Discarded mesh speaker grills offer both ventilation and mystique. Fastened carefully with screws and patience, these lanterns don't just light a path. They tell a story of waste transformed into wonder. And the magic is, anyone can begin. You don't need a workshop, only curiosity and time. That old desktop case sitting in the garage? Strip it down. Keep the faceplates. Measure, cut, sand. Use clear acrylic or repurpose old CDS as window panes. Add a solar LED or a recycled light bulb powered by an old USB bank. Let your design be guided by the shapes you find. Place it near a water feature, maybe beside a bamboo fountain or among ferns and polished stones. Let the contrast between digital past and organic present speak softly into the night. And as the koi swims slowly beneath the reflections, and the breeze rustles through the Japanese maple, you'll find peace not just in the glow of your creation, but in the quiet joy of having given something a second life. This is not just eco-crafting. This is poetry with purpose. Let your garden breathe new life into what was once discarded. Let the forgotten hum again, not with electricity, but with beauty. Colorful garden markers using keyboard keys. There's something charmingly poetic about breathing life back into what the world calls obsolete. In one quiet corner of a backyard, old keyboard keys, once clattered over emails, homework, and ideas, now stand tall as garden markers. Painted in soft pastel hues or left bare with time-worn characters, they spell out nature's new vocabulary: mint, basil, carrot, thyme. They no longer shout commands to machines. They now gently label the gifts of the earth. Look closely, and you'll see them mounted on reused spoons, skewers, and even garden wire, each one a silent storyteller. There's a serenity in the scene, where tech meets soil. A conversation between the digital and the organic, between what we discard and what we choose to nurture. And it's so simple to do. Salvage old keys from retired keyboards, those found in drawers, thrift bins, or even workplace cleanouts. Clean them gently, give them color if you wish, and mark them with permanent ink or stickers. Then mount them creatively. A bit of wire, a skewer, a fork, or a repurposed spoon becomes the spine for your label. What makes this idea shine isn't just sustainability, it's soul. These markers do more than organize your herbs. They reflect your care, your creativity, your love for both the planet and the process. Imagine your garden not only as a place where vegetables grow, but where discarded objects find peace, where technology is forgiven, repurposed, and celebrated under the sunlight. And as your kale and tomatoes thrive, these cheerful little keys, some faded, some bright, will whisper to passers-by, nothing is ever truly useless. Everything can grow again. So go ahead, type a new sentence, plant a new seed. Let your garden tell the story. E-waste bamboo mix fence design. In the quiet embrace of a backyard garden, where wildflowers sway and the morning light spills like tea across the grass, something unexpected catches the eye, not in defiance of nature, but in harmony with it. A fence rises not from steel or stone, but from stories told through bamboo and broken machines. Among the vertical rhythm of these warm, natural poles, fragments of discarded lives, Motherboards, wire looms, rusted drives are woven like memory into the living border. Here, technology is no longer waste. It becomes a frame for blossoms, a canvas for green. There is something deeply poetic in this union. The ancient patience of bamboo and the frantic past of electronics now stilled, given new purpose. Against this backdrop, sunflowers lift their faces to the sky. Zinnias bloom with a vibrance that echoes pixels. Vines climb circuitry like they would any trellis, unaware that what they cling to once buzzed with digital breath. Now, it hums only with the warmth of sun and the hum of bees. Creating something like this is not just a craft, it is a reflection. A way to remind ourselves that what we discard may yet have beauty to offer. That the objects of fast living can become companions in slow, mindful tending of life. To try this yourself, begin simply. Gather what you already have: old circuit boards, scraps of wire, bamboo poles, or wooden sticks. Let your hands feel the textures. The rest will come. Drill gently, wire firmly, allow the irregularity. It is in the imperfection that your fence will tell its truth. And when you're done, plant something nearby. Let nature respond. Let color rise. Let green claim the grid. In a world of quiet chaos, this becomes your quiet rebellion. A border not of separation, but of transformation. DIY Seascape from smashed screens for garden art panel. In a corner where wildflowers bloom and hydrangeas sway like whispers in the wind, there stands a window, though not one made of glass or wood. It's a mosaic, a seascape composed entirely of fragments from a digital past. Broken screens, shattered and obsolete, are reborn into glistening waves and foam-tipped surf. Old CDS and bits of circuitry catch the light like sunlight on ocean spray. Amongst the lavender and ferns, this panel doesn't just hang. It sings a quiet melody of transformation. This is not just art, it is healing. For the earth, and for the hands that made it. The technique is surprisingly gentle and accessible. Cracked LCD panels are sorted by hue, their jagged shapes echoing the movement of water, clouds, and coastline. Driftwood, collected on walks by the shore, brings an earthy contrast to the glass's sharp gleam. Bits of sand and shell line the beach, grounding the scene with texture and memory. If you've ever been heartbroken over a dropped tablet or an old monitor left behind, here lies redemption. Recycled art like this asks us to look again, not at what is broken, but at what can become. And if you're wondering, could I do this too? Yes, you could. With gloves, a little care, and a soul that sees beyond the obvious, you can turn yesterday's tech into tomorrow's serenity. Create a panel for your shed wall, a garden signpost, or even a standalone piece nestled among herbs and thyme. Let it weather, let it speak. Let it become part of your garden's quiet poetry. In this marriage of wild nature and mechanical remnants, beauty blooms anew. So the next time you see a shattered screen, remember, the sea itself is made of broken reflections, and it's still beautiful. Backyard gazebo with e-waste wind chimes. In the hush of a late summer morning, where golden light spills gently across garden paths and dew clings to the leaves like tiny notes of song, something new stirs in the wind. It does not clang nor screech, but rather chimes, softly, delicately, like a digital lullaby finding harmony with nature's breath. Beneath the beams of a rustic wooden pergola, a wind chime dances gently. But look closer. It isn't made of seashells or bamboo. It is crafted from yesterday's technology. An old computer fan, once whirring to cool a forgotten processor, now catches the wind like a weathered bell. Below it, colored wires twist into artful braids, their copper veins exposed in celebration, not shame. Metal chimes, repurposed from scrapped electronics, create a sound that is at once industrial and organic. The garden listens, and so do we. A few steps away, hanging from the eaves of a shaded gazebo, dozens more chimes sway like sentinels of silence and invention. Keys from forgotten keyboards, aluminum heatsinks, laser lenses, and even CD platters. Each piece once part of frantic data flows, now reborn into calm. Their new language is the breeze. Their message is slow beauty. And here's where you come in. This isn't just about recycling, it's about reclaiming presence. With nothing more than a screwdriver, a string, and a little patience, you can transform e-waste into instruments of peace. Harvest computer fans, motherboard fragments, metal clips, and any object that jingles gently. Think not only of sound, but of shape, of shadow, of how sunlight plays off brushed steel and rusted copper. Mount them above your sitting area, or thread them across an arbor, letting the sound guide you to stillness. Each gust of wind becomes a breath of the past transformed, from landfill-bound into luminous resonance. This is the heart of sustainable creation, where sound meets soul, and where a discarded circuit sings again, softer now, but clearer than ever. In your garden, may every forgotten thing find its second life, not in silence, but in song. "14. Cutest Pond Ideas, with aesthetic e-waste touches." In a quiet garden where daisies lean gently in the breeze and the air hums with stillness, something enchanting has bloomed, not from soil, but from forgotten silicon and circuit paths. Here, amidst the flora, a pond cradles not only lilies and pebbles, but the soul of forgotten tech. Welcome to a new kind of Eden, one not grown, but reimagined. In the first scene, the heart-shaped pond draws you close. A gentle glow from fairy lights arcs above, like the tender embrace of a memory. But look closer, this isn't just a story of water and stone. Each edge is lined with old motherboard fragments, their once busy circuits now quiet and at peace, softened by moss and chamomile. Tiny frogs perch upon them like guardians of a secret world. Beneath the surface, green-tinted chips rest like lily pads, hosting miniature figurines as if the garden itself were daydreaming. This isn't merely cute, it's conscious. It's a reminder that what was once considered waste can become something to cherish. The textures, the patterns, the shimmer of copper and plastic, they all play a part in something serene. In the second garden pond, nestled in a softer patch of green, nature mingles with machines in harmonious contrast. What once whirred to cool processes now arches like a bridge over still waters. Fan grills repurposed into architecture. Keyboard keys laid carefully like stepping stones around the perimeter, spelling nothing yet telling everything. Tiny butterflies, some real, some crafted, flutter above a fan casing reborn as sculpture. Between the lily pads and the blooms, there's a surprising calm. The tech isn't fighting the garden. It's part of it now. That's the beauty of the transformation. You don't need expensive materials to create serenity. You just need to pause before you throw something away and ask, what else could you become? And then there is the final pond, a simple circular shape, its edges lined with old CDS. Each disc catches the light like a silver-scaled koi, turning the border into a shimmering halo of reflections. Tiny toy fish made from USB parts swim among real aquatic plants. At its center, a lone lotus blooms, a symbol of rebirth. It floats, undisturbed, as if it too has accepted the companionship of repurposed tech with grace. This is the art of quiet transformation, of turning the digital detritus of our lives into something grounded, still, and beautiful. If this video meant something to you, please know that subscribing means the world to me. You're not just supporting content, you're supporting a dream that keeps my family going. Thank you, truly. I'd also love to hear from you. What did you enjoy the most? Is there anything I could do better to keep inspiring or simply entertaining you? Your feedback helps this channel grow with heart and purpose. Let me know in the comments. I read every one.